I am a Nia Jax guy. I don't know what that means, but I think she is a wonderful throwback and just gets her role. Being obnoxious, often quite funny heel, I am a fan. She has had quite the career in WWE too and has been there for ages now. In fact, she left and then she came back. So let's go on a walk down memory lane with some things you may have forgotten about the girl who is not like most girls. Whatever the hell that entrance lyric was. Number 10, the COVID times. So this wasn't fun. We just touched on it. When Nia Jax did get released from the WWE, it was smack bang in the middle of the pandemic. It felt like a bad time to let people go. There was a ton of speculation about why this happened, but I don't want to comment on somebody's personal life. We don't know and guessing isn't going to help. Clearly Jax and the company saw things differently though. For example, during an interview soon after, Nia mentioned needing some time for her mental health and dropped the line, "I stood my ground on things I know they weren't happy about, so it was a difficult time for sure." For one reason or another, they sorted out their problems, however, with Jax returning and really going on the run of her life with the promotion. I think she's better now than she ever was before, and long may that continue. Number 9, the Alicia Fox Incident. I mean, nobody should forget about this because it was so good. If you haven't seen it, I would try and change that today because it is proper wrestling in action. During a backstage fallout, Fox grabbed a box and hurled it into Nia's head. I think threw it harder than she meant to. For the briefest of moments, Alicia forgot where she was and actually asked Jax if she was okay. She plays it so well as Fox instantly remembers what she's meant to be doing and gets back to it, with Nia clearly finding the whole thing pretty damn amusing. As ever with sports entertainment, those proper reactions are the best ones. As we can all relate in some sense, you can't beat it. Number 8, Bayley called her unsafe. This is another tough one as I bet Nia Jax doesn't want to talk about it. It also likely means the whole thing has been overblown. I don't think we'd use this in storyline if other wrestlers were genuinely upset about it. During the build to SummerSlam 2024 though, Bayley and Jax had a sit-down interview where Bales unleashed. She said Nia was clumsy and hurt people, and she was not talking about a worked wrestling match. It of course tied into the online rhetoric that Jax was reckless and legitimately injured people over the years, but who knows? I mean, a lot of that came from the Becky Lynch angle before Survivor Series, and yeah, Nia did break her nose. Again though, I can't believe we just threw this in there without knowing what we were doing. It's proper inside baseball. It also makes no sense if you care what I think. If we are meant to suspend our disbelief in wrestling, you're meant to act like they do both want to kill each other and win the fight. And if you're talking about the other side, well, let's just move on. Number 7, that fight with Charlotte Flair. Does anybody else smell a work? Because I smell a work. It did cause quite the fuss though on an August 2021 Raw, where Charlotte and Nia were indeed having a wrestling match. After some communication, however, which can happen, Flair properly slapped Jax right in the face. Nia, somewhat stunned, pushed her back, so Charlotte did the same when they sort of looked at each other. This wasn't what you'd expect, especially in WWE, where everything is deliberately polished. Nia at one point even says, "Don't do it," to the Queen when the strike started again. Jax then awkwardly powerbombed Flair, and that was that. Now, Nia did give some insight into this when she admitted things hadn't gone to plan, and that even good friends can get hot at each other. So there you go, watchers. No matter what your job, things can go awry. It is okay, though. The world shall continue. Number 6, the bullying angle. This one was contentious, but I will say this. The bully got hers in the end, so at least the conclusion of the story was correct. Don't be horrible to people. It costs nothing to be nice. The roles were sort of reversed here too, as the smaller Alexa Bliss was the mean one, who straight up body shamed Nia Jax for being larger than average. Now, given WWE on occasion treat these sensitive issues like a bomb exploding, it's not always a good idea, and they certainly handled this one poorly at times. Body shaming is a very real thing, and you don't want to upset anybody at home. That's not the idea of wrestling. Again though, when Jax did win the Raw Women's title at WrestleMania 34, she left being a super over babyface. People genuinely had sympathy for her. It was quite the feat. The real issue for me was soon after this, we turned Jax heel again, and yeah, shouldn't have done that. This run could have gone far longer, but that was WWE back in the day. They just couldn't help themselves. Number 5, Nias Hole. Do people want us to forget about this? Because every time Nia Jax talks about it, she does so with a wry smile. I think she knows what she's doing. It was way back in February 2021, and in case you don't know, Jax was fighting with Lana when she was bumped on the apron bottom first. Therefore, as anybody was, she shouted, "Ow, my hole," as if something had penetrated her buttocks. I mean, I don't know how else to say it. The reason they got so much traction is because it was so loud. This was the Thunderdome era where things like that became exaggerated. So all at once we were like, did she just say what I think she said? And yeah, she did. My hole. Nia admitted this was done to make Triple H and Vince McMahon laugh, but yeah, go back and watch anything from the pandemic. It is so horrible. If somebody is going out there to have some fun, it works for me. Can't even watch these shows because of the bad memories. At least this is a stupid one. Number 4, she fell in love with Enzo Amore. I will tell you why the Rhea Ripley, Dominic Mysterio, Liv Morgan triangle is so good. It actually works. So many times WWE has tried to do romance nonsense and it is just bad. Even during the Attitude Era, Vince McMahon wanted Stone Cold Steve Austin to hook up with Sable. Thankfully, Austin said no and he was right. That would not have fit at all. From that point on, random people kept being paired off, such as this in 2017. From nowhere, almost literally, Jax found the then Cruiserweight champion Enzo Amore and very suggestively asked him to do his "how you doing" catchphrase. The interactions got more and more flirtatious until they were about to kiss under the mistletoe, when Alexa Bliss put a stop to it. This was meant to be a heel move, but no, nobody wanted to see this, it was just so weird. Enzo then ran into some personal issues which saw him released from WWE, but did admit later on there was going to be a plan here. He was going to use Nia to help him win matches, while also having an affair with Bliss. If that is true, damn it, would you just stop with this nonsense? This is when we went the bullying route instead, so all things considered, we got the best of a bad situation. Don't know why WWE insists on this sometimes, like a really crappy soap opera. Number 3, that stuff with Dean Ambrose. January 28th, 2019. Dean Ambrose was preparing to leave the WWE when he sat in the ring ready to cut a promo. And then he got interrupted by Nia Jax. She was with Tamina and Nobody Is Meaner and yelled at him off mic when Jax smacked Ambrose out of the squared circle. She wanted a fight, but Dean wasn't interested and walked off. For a company that was so anti-intergender wrestling, this was certainly a WWE surprise. It very much seemed like something was going to happen, especially because Jax had entered the Men's Royal Rumble the night before and also had a problem with Ambrose. And then we got nothing. That classic. Thankfully, Nia talked about it on Rennie Paquette's podcast and how she found it uncomfortable too. Didn't feel like it was a proper story, and mostly felt like WWE punching Ambrose, who was indeed going to quit the promotion soon. We had just committed to this, it would have been fine because Jax looks like she can handle herself, but as ever, it was an oddity. I think WWE forgot about this before we all did. It just stopped. Number 2, that weirdness, the 2023 Rumble. So on this night, Nia Jax made her return to WWE. She was in the fabled number 30 spot too, so that was cool, when somebody in the production truck clearly had a finger meltdown. Now the last entrant always gets some pomp and circumstance, and this was going to be bigger because it was a surprise. It means you want to get it right, and instead, before the countdown clock had got to 0, Nia's music just started playing. What was this? It doesn't make a grand difference in the scheme of things, and mistakes do happen, but it was just so unlike WWE, especially in a situation like this. Nobody has ever clued us up on this one. I would like to know. Number 1, she used to be called Zada, or Zada, I don't know, but it didn't last long. But before she did get the name Nia Jax, WWE just called her Zada. I don't know. She was also born in Australia, so technically Jax is the first Aussie-born superstar in the WWE as opposed to what we usually say. And also bless Nia, because she once admitted that Total Divas is 98% scripted. I mean, we all knew, but I do appreciate her being honest. Nia also got caught up in the Authors of Pain nonsense over here when they were allegedly going to run some wrestling shows before they all got canned. Jax was clearly livid about this as she was messed around, and I can tell you, she wasn't the only one. And all of that made absolutely no sense.